What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode on the channel. Today we're going to be focusing on doing an engine flush and oil change for the first time in my daily Swift myself. I've never changed the oil myself. I get the garage to do it every 10,000 Ks or 5,000 Ks, whatever. But I want to do it myself for once, and while we're in there I want to install a sandwich plate so that we can wire up an oil temperature and an oil pressure gauge. Let's get into that video. So we'll start off by taking our engine flush, Penrite engine flush, which it says that it cleans fast in 10 minutes right here. And it also says that it's good for petrol engines, which this is a petrol engine. Start the engine and run for 5 minutes. Application rate is 50 mils per 100 mils. So 375 mils does the whole thing. So if we put half of it in, then we should be good to go. I've never done this before, bearing in mind I've never done an engine flush, so let's just do something damn like crazy and just put it in and see what it does. Let's see if I can ever get this damn film off it. Maybe I'll poke it. Alright, and now we're going to put it in, restart the engine, let it run for 2 minutes, allow the engine to cool. Okay, I think we're good to go. So we're going to start by just pouring some of this into the engine. We'll put a bit more in it actually. Now we'll wipe up all the oil that I have spilt. Which, I'm sorry Chris, but I'm opting out one of the Powerade towels to do my engine, unfortunately. I want a damn sight good job. It's my first time doing it. If anyone doesn't know, Chris is my sponsor. He sponsors all these videos, and he is also the sponsor of today's video. So big shout out to him, and if you don't know who he is, I'll leave his link in the description and go check him out. He can work magic with cars. Magic you ain't ever seen done before. Alright, so we'll put our oil cap back on, and we're going to start and let the engine run for about 10 minutes as it says, and then we'll come back, we'll drain the oil, take the oil filter off, install our sandwich plate, and we'll go from there. So let's start it up and let's get it flushed. Okay, so I think that it's been flushed out for long enough. It's been about 15 minutes. Quickly check the oil stick. Nothing overly looks out of place, which I assume is how it's meant to be. I'm going to get underneath it now. We'll get the drain bolt out, we'll get the oil draining, we'll get the oil going. Alright, so I've managed to get it to a good point where we're now going to unscrew and drain the oil. And there we go. It's now flowing out. And it's not going on the floor. You'll be proud about that, Chris. So my bolt went in that bucket. I'm going to have to put my hand in there. Damn it. And now we wait for it to drip off, and then we can put that back on, take the oil filter off, and then we're winning. Here's the oil that got removed. It's pretty black, and that's only about a couple of weeks old, that oil. I didn't actually check the filter to make sure that it's got the right numbers on it before I got too excited actually. Oh shit. Will it... Oh no! Why did I do that? Look! Alright, so I'm just gonna have to assure that this filter is the correct one for the Daily Swift. So what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of oil on that rubber ring, because I'm told that that's good for it, and then we can get into it. We'll be using the Penrite 10W40 as recommended, 4.2 litres, the Swift M13, M15, M16 and also the K12 all take the same amount of fluid. We're going to take the 1 litre one, open it up a little bit. We're going to remove the cap like so. And then I'm going to dip my finger in there, as much as I hate dipping my fingers in oil. I'm overdoing my hands, I'm over cleaning them today. And then we'll pour a little bit of oil into the filter, because it came with oil out of it, so I presume that you put it back into it, and then we're going to screw it up underneath. And then I try and get myself back underneath this car, which doesn't help that it sits so low. Our filter housing's right there. Take our, not oil wrench, but our tool out of Chris's workshop. Oh, and be very careful not to fucking whack shit like me. And I was tightening it up the wrong way. Okay, and now that part of it's all done. I've already tightened up the bolt underneath. Filter's on. Now we can move on to what is the next steps. I thought you might want to watch me lower the car. I had another jack here for safety. Ideally you'd always use axle stands. Always. But in this case, I didn't. I used improvised with what was the best available. Seems that this light has popped out. Interesting, the side light is popping out. Stick it back in there, I'll check the other side. That's fine. Now I'm gonna just double check for leaks. Oh, that was quick. Now we'll turn to the car. Take yours in with the tripod. Okay, so oil, obviously, there's barely even a smidgen on the dipstick. So we'll put this over the engine. It says that the capacity is 4 litres. I say we put in, it's 4.2 litres, sorry. I say we make sure that this isn't spilling overboard. So we put in this whole one and then check it. Let it drain. If this overflowed, I'd be really upset. How much have we put in? Roughly 2 litres. So that'd register something on it, I would say, on the dipstick. I think my worst thing is that I could overfill it. And then have to drain some oil out of it. Wipe the slurp off the bucket so that it doesn't drip all over everything. Never ever ever given a car a service before, so this is a first for me. We're down to under 1 litre of oil. I say we just give that a second to make its way down the engine. 1, 2, that'll do. Okay, we're getting quite near that full line. What I'll do is we will put the last of this oil in. We'll check it again actually. Give it a second. It's draining, and it's gone. And now we'll check it again. I do worry that this oil is a little bit thin for this engine, but it's heavier than what is recommended due to the age of it and the case. And then we'll slurp that up with that. We'll wipe this out because this is one of the boss's tools that he uses for probably changing his own oil. Not that I've ever seen Chris do his own oil, but you know, he'll probably come in tomorrow and be like, oh, I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to change my oil. And then he'll be like, why is everything so messed up? And it'll be all my fault, as per usual. Oil cap on, dipstick in place, oil filters on. I mean, it's got oil in it. I say we give it a start and see what it does. Servicing a car myself. Okay, I'm not noticing anything out there underneath. Let's check the oil cap. It's much the same. Okay, so it's definitely not full. It definitely needs a smidgen. Now that we've probably got some oil into the oil filter, I'm guessing that's what's put our oil down. That's fine. We'll top it up to the correct level, start it again. Or maybe we'll put a little bit more in it, start it again, check it again, go from there. Alright, I know the lighting ain't the best, but we've got to make do, I'm afraid. Check the oil again after it's been sitting in there a few minutes. It's definitely in need of some oil. So we'll take our cap off again. Take our trusty thin pourer funnel, whatever you'd call it. We'll pour that in. Put the cap on it. Make sure that it isn't overfilled. It's bang on the line. We'll start it up again, just to make sure that everything's running as it should. I'm guessing that would have pumped some oil all around it by now. We'll let the oil drain down the cylinders and we'll check it one more time. Alright, let's do a final check. Now, there's heaps of oil in there. It's not overfilled and it's not really under the line concerned enough for me to want to put more in it. I will just wipe out the oil cap though and try and clean it up a bit. Only using a paper towel, I'm not going crazy on it. Just so that it looks semi-decent. Alright, so we want to take our oil and obviously I've got to do something with it. It can't really stay there. We're going to have it like there. And I'm hoping that I'm going to pour this in without a mess. So I'm doing it on camera because I really want my boss to see this and know that I did everything I could to keep the workshop as clean as possible. But look at how black it is. Oh, there we go, I've spilt it. Oh, and I'm nearly bloody pouring it overboard. It's alright, all oil will be cleaned up using a workshop degreaser. I did plan for this to happen. Oh! The oil filter will let drain off for a second. I want to get as much oil off it as... Oh! Slippery! And then take the one rag that I said that I was going to destroy. Basically that's the oil filter. And it's really heavy, like it's a lot heavier than the one that I just put on it. Well, I guess oil's heavy in general. Which it didn't quite fill a 4 litre, which either it's burnt through at least at least half a litre in 5,000 Ks, or I've overfilled it by over 500 mils, but I don't think so, because I've checked the dipstick 7 times. But as this video claims, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm pretending to for YouTube content, for you guys. Okay, well, that's the best I'm going to do with that, and then the rest of it will just soak up with these. Here's a box. I'm going to put them in. Whoa, check that out. There's still oil in it. And I suppose we'll finish wiping it with the one rag that is going to be destroying in this video. So with the oil change, I wanted to make it very clear to everyone that I have no mechanical knowledge prior to this oil change. I only study online, research, watch other YouTubers, and I've come up and I've done it myself. I do think that it has worked, the flush and the oil change. I did plan to install the oil adapter sandwich plate so we could wire up an oil pressure gauge and an oil temperature gauge. However, that sandwich plate is missing the seal that goes around it, so I'm going to have to try and get a new one. So at least we gave it an oil change. Let's get it started. Alright everyone, that's going to do it for this video. I want to apologise that we didn't get to install the oil temperature and oil pressure gauges. I'm working on sorting out that seal so we can get it on. There were complications, not worth going into it. We'll come back with another video. We got the oil changed for the first time myself, which I've never changed oil before, so that was a very interesting experiment for me. The car hasn't blown up, so that's good. I'll give you an update next week in the next video and let you know how the car's running. I've been cruising around in it for a few hours with zero problems, so I presume that it's okay. Anyways, without taking up too much more of your time, follow me on Instagram. I post more than I will on YouTube. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I'll catch you in the next video.